Nobody tells you what silence sounds like on your wedding night. They tell you about roses, about candles, about love, but they never tell you about the weight in your chest. The room was decorated in soft golden light. Rose petals covered the bed in a perfect heart shape. The air smelled sweet, too sweet, almost suffocating. I sat on the edge of the mattress, still wearing half of my bridal jewelry. My hands were ice cold. My bangles trembled every time I moved my fingers. I tried to breathe slowly, but my lungs felt tight. This wasn't a love marriage. It was arranged. Quick. Practical. He was successful. Respected. Quiet. Everyone said I was lucky. But luck does not calm fear. When the door clicked shut behind him, my heart jumped so hard I thought he could hear it. The sound of that lock turning felt louder than any music at the wedding. He didn't speak immediately. That silence was unbearable. I stared at the floor. I didn't know whether to stand, smile, or stay still. My mind replayed every warning older women had whispered to me. Just accept everything. Don't argue. Be a good wife. But what does that even mean on the first night? Then I heard his footsteps. Slow. Careful. And suddenly, they stopped. The man who did touch me. I waited for him to sit beside me. He didn't. Instead, he walked past the bed and opened the window slightly. Cool air entered the room. I hadn't realized how suffocating it felt until then. You look uncomfortable, he said quietly. His voice wasn't demanding. It wasn't impatient. It was observant. I didn't answer. I expected him to come closer anyway. But he didn't. He removed his watch, placed it on the table, removed his shoes, sat on a chair far from me. I won't do anything you don't want, he said. That sentence confused me more than anything else. Wasn't this night supposed to belong to him? I slowly looked up for the first time. He wasn't staring at me the way I feared. He was staring at his hands. Nervous. That made my fear shift slightly. But something else replaced it. Uncertainty. Because kindness from a stranger is harder to understand than cruelty. We slept separately that night. Or at least pretended to. But I could feel something. He wasn't sleeping. He was awake. Listening. The gentle K. The days after were peaceful. Too peaceful. He brought me tea every morning. He asked about my comfort. He adjusted the temperature in the room before I entered. He memorized small details about me without asking. Which side I preferred to sleep on. How much sugar I liked. What sound woke me up. At first it felt sweet. Then it started to feel calculated. He didn't restrict me. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. But slowly, I noticed changes. My phone was always charged, even when I hadn't plugged it in. My schedule became predictable. My friends stopped visiting because he politely handled invitations. I'll take care of it, he would say. Take care. That phrase followed me everywhere. One night, I walked quietly toward his study. The door was slightly open. He was on the phone. Yes, she's adjusting well, he whispered. No, she doesn't suspect anything. I just need more time. My stomach dropped. Time for what? Love that felt like ownership. I began observing him the way he observed me. He kept files organized with extreme precision. Every expense recorded. Every document labeled. One afternoon while he was out, I searched his study. Not randomly. Carefully. And I found something disturbing. A folder with my name. Inside were medical evaluations. Psychological notes. Insurance papers. There was even a clause mentioning emotional instability. I couldn't breathe. Why would my emotional state matter legally? Then I understood. If I ever tried to leave, if I ever appeared unstable, he could claim control. Not through violence, through paperwork, through sympathy. That night, I confronted him calmly. "You don't trust me?" I asked. He looked hurt. "I trust you too much," he said softly. "I'm just afraid you'll leave." That wasn't romance. That was fear disguised as love. The silence that saved me. I didn't fight. I didn't scream. Because the most powerful weapon in a controlled house is silence. If he was studying me, I would study him better. I smiled more, acted dependent, played fragile, while secretly meeting a lawyer, while copying documents, while gathering proof. Weeks passed. He grew comfortable, confident, certain that I belonged to him completely. Then one afternoon, officials arrived. Not dramatically, not loudly, calmly. Financial manipulation, legal coercion, private psychological documentation without consent. He didn't yell. He looked at me, not angry, just shocked. "You were afraid," I said quietly. "But you should have known. Fear teaches survival." When everything ended, the house felt different. Not lighter, clearer. That first night of fear, it wasn't the beginning of my weakness. It was the beginning of my awareness. Because sometimes, the husband who loves you too much is not protecting you. He's protecting his control. And the most dangerous cages are built with kindness. When the door closed behind the officials, the house did not echo. It did not tremble. It did not mourn him. It simply stood there, exposed. For the first time, the walls were not absorbing whispers. They were empty of tension. He looked at me one last time before leaving. Not furious. Not broken. Confused. As if he could not understand how someone he believed fragile had dismantled him without raising her voice. "You changed," he said quietly. I shook my head. "No," I learned. Because silence is not surrender. Silence is observation. While he believed I was shrinking, I was memorizing patterns. While he thought I was dependent, I was documenting control. While he smiled gently in front of others, I was collecting the evidence of what lived behind closed doors. He built a cage so carefully that even I didn't see the bars at first. But cages built with kindness are still cages. And kindness used as control is still control. That first night, the night I trembled in fear, I thought I was powerless. I thought love meant endurance. I thought silence meant weakness. I was wrong. Silence gave me time. Time gave me clarity. And clarity gave me power. When I slept alone in that house for the first time after he left, there was no music, no footsteps, no watchful presence, just stillness. And in that stillness, I finally felt something I hadn't felt in years. Safety. Not because he was gone, but because I understood myself. The husband who loves you too much does not want your happiness. He wants your obedience. And the most dangerous cages are built slowly, with patience, with affection, with promises. But the strongest escapes are built quietly. And sometimes, the woman who says nothing is the woman who